She just used to say, well, I wasn't born with the fear gene. Well, I don't have that, but I also don't have the offense gene. I don't have that gene that's like, oh my God, I'm really offended. That's really inappropriate. Like, I don't understand what that emotion is.
Do you think that millennials, the reason that they kind of have abandoned classical liberalism is because boomers stopped giving them a reason to defend it?
No, I don't think millennials did abandon classical liberalism. I just think that a very small vocal minority hijacked the entire generation. I think that on the whole, actually, that millennials are relatively sensible. They've just been completely hijacked by this crazy sort of social justice instinct. There's this thing called preference falsification, right? Where everybody tells you that they believe certain things even if they don't really believe them because they have to fit in with their friends. This is why BuzzFeed is popular, but BuzzFeed is now in trouble.
Yeah,
BuzzFeed is
I read about that, yeah.
You did. BuzzFeed is getting into trouble because people don't really believe this stuff, and as soon as they get the hint that there are no social consequences attached to telling the truth about things, so explaining how they really believe, and that lots of their friends believe the same way, you start to get this very quick cascade. It's called a preference cascade. This is happening out of BuzzFeed. Right, BuzzFeed is discovering not only that people under 16, 15 don't like them very much, but they're also getting, for the first time, BuzzFeed is starting to get as many dislikes as likes on its videos, because people are realizing there are no social consequences attached to saying, do you know what, this race baiting is not okay. This gender baiting is not okay. What I'm discovering as I talk to colleges actually is that the millennial generation, which many of us have written off as a generation that cares more about feelings than facts, has been very unfairly represented by a small vocal minority. Now, that minority has power on campuses, has power in the media, has power in the entertainment industry, has power in academia, all sorts of different environments. But I have faith that the millennial generation is more sensible than that. And I think the proof in the pudding, which hasn't really been seen before, is my college talks. You get my college talks, right? I go and I speak to people about free speech and all the rest of it. You see this, like the internet is played out in real life in the audiences in my talks. You get Trump supporters, Black Lives Matter, feminists, classical liberal, all these people, and then it's got like Trump chants versus the Black Lives Matter. It's an amazing thing. The level of
And then a wave afterwards.
right, the level of intellectual diversity in that generation is very much not what you would think if all you ever read was BuzzFeed. It shouldn't be news to you that the media is out of touch with people.
But left-wing
And they are.
internet millennial media is dying out, but at a faster
they
pace.
have some problems because they've realized that they can't bully, cajole, and language police people into believing they're crazy horse shit. They need to actually have some facts behind it, and they don't have the facts to back it up.
Now, where is censorship worse, in England or in America?
Well, it depends what you mean.
On the student, on like the college level, especially.
Oh, well, it's difficult to tell in England because in England they just ban things. So if they don't like you, they'll just ban you. They just won't have you on the campus. Like, you can't speak. I'll go like, I was down to speak in a debate, and the question was, does feminism have a free speech problem?
Yeah.
And both sides of the debate were banned. They don't even want the discussion to be had. Whereas in America, they just rock up and they make idiots of themselves and they have protests. My entire career, I've used them against themselves. I have used my enemies as my own marketing. Every time I do one of these college talks, the best marketing, possible for me, the people who do the best for me are the feminists and the crazies who say they're going to protest me. They do all of the work for me. By the time I show up, it almost doesn't matter what I say. It almost doesn't matter what I say in my talks because the drama and chaos has been so extraordinary. Like, that's almost job done for me. Yeah. But these people do all the hard work for me. So I take the same approach to my press.
I'm a woman. And I'm ashamed to be a part of AU today. Well, explain, not to you guys, but to everyone else listening here, what the it means to be triggered. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't slept for the last 3 weeks.
Did your parents ever sit there and say to you, like, Milo, what are you doing? No, never. They just encouraged you insanity.
No, my mother thinks I'm insane.
Are you an only child, too?
Yeah, of course.
That gets the complex worse.
This will surprise you. No, I mean, my dad, the only thing my dad ever cared about, when I came out as gay, my dad was like, son, I don't want to see it. I don't want it around me. But as long as you're safe, I'm happy. And if anyone ever breaks your heart, you call me and I'll end up in a body bag. So, like, my dad was
a Greek bar owner, right?
Well, my dad has like pubs and nightclubs and all the rest of
Yeah.
it. So, it's like typical kind of Greek mafia, whatever. But so he said exactly what you would hope, that he was like the TV version of the kind of like unexpectedly lovely response from the strong man. My mother went hysterical. My mother like blamed my grandmother for turning me gay. All the rest. Anyway, so as this kind of turned into a career, and they realized that I was just going to be professionally outrageous and preposterous and ridiculous and I was going to do all this stuff for a living, then my mother became more sympathetic and my dad was like, son, what are you doing? What is this? I mean, like, I agree with you, but you have to...
Nothing offends you at all.
No, I've never been offended. I don't know what it means. Maybe I'm broken. Maybe there's something about
Only
me.
like one or two things will really just piss me off. Like, I don't know,
What? Like what?
15 priests boy jokes. I'm like, all right, enough. Like, I'm Catholic. Like, enough. Like, all right.
No,
I get
I'm
it.
Catholic too.
The first
God,
one, yeah,
God
you're
loves
Catholic.
me.
Yeah.
No, I am.
I know you are.
Yeah,
You have the
you're
rosary
Catholic.
beads. Yeah.
What?
No, I know you are. I saw the tweets of the rosary beads at the bar.
No, I am. Look,
I
God,
know you
God
are.
loves. Look, I'm very convinced
I'm not
about
joking,
this.
I know you
sell.
are.
I know my store. My best-selling T-shirt is God hates fags, but he hates feminists more.
Why is it important to say the word faggot again? Because you said it over again.
Oh, it's very important to say faggot and queer and gay and restore gay to its real meaning. You know, crap, lame, rubbish, Hillary supporting immigrants.
What about happy? No, throw that out.
I wouldn't know.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's important because you need to rob these words of their. So I'm doing a different thing from the when queer was appropriated by gay people as a way to sort of take it away from bigots and sort of reclaim it. I'm doing something different. I want to reclaim it from the Room 101 the left has put it in. I want to reclaim it and say, you know what? Nothing bad happens when you call somebody a faggot. It's not that big a deal. And if I want to say it about myself, that should be okay.
You mean all these kids killing themselves not because one bully called them a faggot once in their life?
All these kids killing
I
themselves?
saw it on Glee, so it must be true.
Do you have numbers on this? Because as far as I know, this really hasn't happened for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, what? No.
You mentioned your store before. What's the privilege grant? Tell people the privilege grant.
Oh, so I started. Look, for the majority of the progressive left, what they like to do is they make these kind of like evidence-free, emotion-driven, identitarian. They draw these pictures of how the world is, and very often it doesn't conform to reality. It doesn't conform to the facts. So, like, I looked into this. My team looked into this. We discovered that actually in both the UK and the US, one of the most educationally underprivileged groups is poor white men. And now, straight white males, you know, it's the group that everyone loves to hate. It's the group that it's perfectly fine to ridicule and
Because
demean
Gavin McInnes
and
says they
belittle.
take it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they do take it, but where I differ from people like Gavin McInnes and Joe Rogan, and I like both of them enormously, they can be slightly callous about this. You know, as a Catholic, as a Christian, I believe that the strong should protect the weak. And if I am in a position where I can stand up for these guys, some of whom do need a champion, you know, they do need a savior, and they're looking at Gavin McInnes and they're looking at Joe Rogan, and these guys are being like, man up, pussies. That's not helping these people, because these people are born like in trailer parks with no help, no assistance. They're like, I really want to get to college, and I'm really smart, and nobody will help me. There are no scholarships for me. There are no mentorship programs for me. There is no path I can see from getting me to where I am now to Harvard. Even if I'm smart enough, there's just no way for me to get there. Well, I can't give every one of these guys, you know, 50 grand, 100 grand. But what I can do is focus on a couple of $1,000s, which very often is the difference between going to college and not going to college for poor families. Because there are a lot of loans available, there are all sorts of other things. You know, quite often for a poor family, the difference between sending their son to, you know, whatever it is, Northwestern or whatever, you know, good university, the difference can be that £2,000 to £5,000 that you just need in kind of like ready money, in capital, in cash, just for relocation, for books, all that kind of stuff. So I started the Yiannopoulos Privilege Grant with the dual purpose of doing some good in the world and also annoying all of the worst people in the world. So yeah, we give out $2,500 scholarships to young underprivileged white boys. It's partly means tested and partly ability tested. So you have to need the money, but you also have to be smart.
Has it started yet?
So applications are going to be open later in this year. We're going to hope to get it all in place in time for the next academic year. I'm pulled in so many different directions. I have to try to when I do it, I want to get it right. So hopefully we'll get it in time for this academic year.
Why?
We've raised amazingly actually from private donors and from me and from various other people. We've raised $250,000. So we're going to be
That's amazing.
We're going to be giving out
Congratulations.
100 scholarships of $2,500 to boys that really need the help.